The US and the UAE just had a major meeting signing a $1.4 trillion deal. But nobody's talking about what this means for Bitcoin and why the importance of meeting with David Sachs could play in all of this, right? As you see here, David Sachs meets with the official Sheikh Tahoon to discuss AI and cryptocurrency. And not only that, we had the Sheik meet with Donald Trump, Donnie T himself. So, what does this all mean, and why does this add a ton of significance for Bitcoin and the United States going forward? Well, as you know, the UAE is an absolute massive superpower, and it's one of the quickest growing, right? So, we've got a lot of people here now showing how this $1.4 trillion investment, big money, is now being invested into the United States. So the US has been, coveted by Donald Trump to be the next AI and crypto superpower. And so what is he doing? He's looking for outside investment to make that happen. So he's going to the UAE. You see Donald Trump's already making deals left and right. He is using that art of the deal here. But I think the interesting aspect is this sheik is known as the spy sheik. And he's been, quote, taking the AI world by storm because of what he has been doing. And he's in a hurry that he's looking to spend that $1.5 trillion. And he's been grappling with Mark Zuckerberg. So, what did he do? He spent that $1.5 trillion very quickly, and he did it in the United States after meeting with David Sachs and Donnie T. But I think the interesting aspects of this, let's break down the full deal that the UAE is signing with the United States here. We've got the landmark reshape of global investments. The United Emirates has committed to injecting 1.4 trillion in the US economy over the next decade. This decision follows a high-profile meeting between UAE officials and former President Donald Trump. So this means massive job creation in the industry. It strengthens the US and UAE relations, and it unprecedented foreign investment driving growth. Now, with this, right, the UAE is a massive superpower. They've been investing in a lot of different things here lately, but as many of you know, I've discussed in this channel multiple times, they've got a giant sovereign wealth fund. Now, this sovereign wealth fund is one of the largest in the world, but the interesting aspect of this sovereign wealth fund is that it's mostly oil. So the UAE is looking for ways to diversify their investments and find heavy tech and related fields in order to increase that. Now, what did the United States just do curiously as well? Donald Trump came out and said, hey, we're going to create the United States' first ever sovereign wealth fund, which I think would be absolutely massive. So maybe, just maybe, look, I'm stroking my chin here, just doing a little one of those thinking emojis here. Maybe the United States is looking at how the sovereign wealth fund was created in the UAE because it's had massive amounts of success. Donald Trump has come out and said that he wants something like a high energy and America first. He's filed all those different trademarks of the Bitcoin ETFs as well as the energy ETFs. So maybe he's using this meeting to kind of tailor off of what the UAE is doing with their sovereign wealth fund, this $1.1 trillion that they've gotten sitting there. But anyway, let's get back to the point. The Trump's crypto czar, David Sachs, has met with the UAE's national security advisor on crypto and AI, right? So I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce this name here, but he spoke with the White House crypto czar, David Sachs. And then he also met with Donnie T himself, right? So they've hosted him for dinner on March 18th. Trump posted on Truth Social. So what does this all mean? Why are the UAE so interested in the United States currently? Well, my theory is that they are very interested in what they're doing with Bitcoin. And they're seeing everything that they've been doing with Bitcoin here. And like, if we go a little tinfoil hat, look, I'm just connecting some dots here. You're meeting with the AI and crypto czar of the United States, right? They're talking about AI and cryptocurrency. David Sachs in the United States has been making massive waves of Bitcoin throughout this entire time. They just had their digital asset summit. They also had a bunch of the top minds come in and speak to Trump and David Sachs about Bitcoin and everything else under the sun. And a lot of them, after creating that Bitcoin strategic reserve, were very happy with the way that they created that strategic reserve, right? They're not using any of these alternative crypto tokens. They're using just Bitcoin and Bitcoin only. So, the UAE is getting curious as to why they are doing all this. So I think the timing is really peculiar here, and the expanding roles of digital currencies along with the investment opportunities. So I think that the UAE is looking at the way that the United States is really just pushing everything going forward. And look, they explored with David Sachs, the special advisor on AI and crypto, the transformational effects of AI across various sectors, and the expanding role of digital currencies in reshaping the financial system. That sounds bullish to me, folks. I don't know about you guys, but that definitely sounds like something that I can get on board with. That seems extremely bullish to me, right? He's looking at the expanding roles of Bitcoin here going forward, right? The expanding roles of digital currencies. So, not only do they have one of the largest sovereign wealth funds in the world, and they're looking to see how to potentially diversify that, but they've also had a big push towards Bitcoin and crypto, right? So Saudi Arabia has spent $620 billion in their wealth fund for crypto-friendly venture capitalist. So they're really starting to look at this industry as a rising industry, right? I think it's interesting because they've been so heavy in the energy industry. As many of you know, in the Bitcoin space, energy and Bitcoin, they go hand in hand. You got to plug into a Bitcoin miner to keep the Bitcoin network running strong, right? You need all of those miners to keep running through. A popular technique has been capturing that flare gas and using that energy to mine Bitcoin. Hell, Saudi and UAE could be already doing that. We don't know that. There's been a lot of things thrown around there. And we've also had a giant conference, Bitcoin MENA, not too long ago as well. So the UAE's connection with Bitcoin cannot be undermined here, right? We got to look at the writing on the wall. We're looking at this giant $620 billion investment and now a $1.4 trillion investment into the United States. Their sovereign wealth fund had bought Bitcoin in Q1 of this year. So, I mean, I think it's absolutely massive that we're seeing this sovereign wealth fund of the UAE really start to go forward into Bitcoin, right? And really look at how the United States is pushing this forward. I think it's very important and something to keep close eye on, because this $1.4 trillion is not just a small investment. It's a major investment into a foreign entity, and they're committing it to Donald Trump to help with the investment framework in the US, which I think is very interesting here, right? We've got the investment framework. It's over a 10-year period. Will substantially increase the US UAE's existing investments in the US economy, including AI infrastructure, semiconductors, energy, American manufacturing, and you'd have to assume that it would include some Bitcoin related investments as well, just because of the connection between AI and cryptocurrency, and from this little meeting that they had not too long ago, just 3 days ago, right? So I think that these are giant, massive meetings that are happening behind closed doors. I think we haven't even started to see the run up yet of what we're going to see of this nation state FOMO, because of these behind closed doors meeting, and they're happening quickly. Look, Donald Trump's been in office for essentially 2 months, right? January 20th, he got into office, and then we've seen now it go from, February 20th, we're sitting here March 24th recording this, and now we're getting a $1.4 trillion investment just over 2 months in on from the UAE. Will see this continue to skyrocket. And I think the amount of foreign investment is going to keep increasing, especially with the amount of people that we see going in, right? And I think Wall Street has been waiting for this news to happen because we're seeing Bitcoin absolutely rip and roar here at 88,000. We're getting back, folks. Maybe we're out of the mud here and we're going to get back over that 90K number and we're going to see Bitcoin continue to shoot up. But I think that, the unique aspect of a lot of this is that this meeting was announced on 3 days ago. So that is Friday, early day Friday, and these big moves are being made, and they're tweeting about this Friday afternoon, Thursday night, and we're seeing these things as, Wall Street is closed. Everything has got to start to trade 24/7, 365 because we see these giant moves in the upward swing when it comes to Monday morning because these tweets just happen later in the afternoon. These meetings are disclosed later. But I think the writing on the wall here and the writing and what everybody should be paying attention to is that the UAE and the United States are meeting. They formed this major deal. And we've seen, as my man Phil C in the chat is saying, so much has happened in 2 months. And I couldn't agree more, right? We've got my man Kyle in the chat. What's going on, boss? On the X chat as well. Got to show some love there. So appreciate all you guys tuning in on the X and on on YouTube as well. I'm feeling a little bit better, folks. So I hope my voice sounds a little bit better to you guys. But we're talking about Bitcoin and the overall crypto czar David Sachs meeting with the UAE. It's absolutely massive. We're talking about the sovereign wealth fund of the UAE stacking Bitcoin in these Bitcoin ETFs. But we all know the true importance of Bitcoin is being able to hold Bitcoin in self-custody. That's why I've partnered with my friends over at the Bitcoin Well. They are the number one place to buy Bitcoin in Canada, in the United States. And the crazy guys over there will give you Bitcoin if you buy more Bitcoin. So I'm going to put it here for you, folks. We're going to play this wishing well. You have the chance to win 1 million sats every time you throw your coin down this wishing well. So I'm going to do that for you guys right here. So get your Lightning wallets ready and get some sats. You can win 210 sats. You got to be the first one in order to, scan that and get those 210 sats. If you are just watching this pre-recorded, set that bell notification so you know when I'm going live, so you can join in on that chat. Smash the like button as well for wherever you guys are listening right now, because you guys could always get some free sats. If not, if you missed your chance to get these free sats this time, you could go to bitcoinwell.com/greencandle, sign up today, and by entering your email, go into that link. And once you do that, you go here. Once you do that, you buy some Bitcoin. You can set up a DCA. You can earn some wishing well tokens yourself. Because what are we seeing here, folks? We're seeing David Sachs and a bunch of other people meet with massive names with a lot of money backing them. This is absolutely huge. And now we see what happened. What was the result of this? A $1.4 trillion investment happened shortly after this meeting. And it happened here with Donald Trump as well. So we're seeing Trump mix in with a lot of these countries that have massive amounts of money. The wealth in these nations cannot be understated. I don't think that the wealth has really been tapped into just yet here. And we're seeing Trump and the likes of his cabinet, whoever he's getting into the office, meeting with people with massive amounts of money. And they're doing things that are a little bit quiet underneath a little bit of speculation here, but there's been speculation that the UAE has been stacking Bitcoin. There's been speculation that the UAE has been mining Bitcoin for quite some time, which would make sense with their energy output that they have. So I would not be surprised if we start to see this more and more. Some of these countries start to double up. We're starting to see Bitcoin potentially show some life back above that $88,000. So with this, we're seeing some Bitcoin come back to life a bit. And then we're seeing some more bullish signals. A lot of things happen in this past 2 months, right? So these things can help offset those tariffs, which a lot of people equate to Bitcoin basically floating around here this time because of the tariffs. Look, I'm not going to tell you if that's correct or incorrect. I don't necessarily think that's going to be a huge deal, but I do have an interview actually coming out here in the next couple weeks with somebody who tells us what is going on here with the market. So there's maybe a little bit of a teaser for you to hit that subscribe button so you know when the next podcast is coming out. But it's beside the point. I think everybody here is looking at how Bitcoin is just floating around, right? We saw Bitcoin rip and roar. We thought when Trump got into office, we were going to see everything up and to the right. That's not always how it goes in the Bitcoin space. We look at the overall just choppiness. This is par for the course. This is what generally happens, right? Like if you look at the past 5 years, right? You see chop, 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 up. You see chopping over here, up, chop, chop, down, chop, chop, up, chop, chop, down. So we're going to see something similar to this here, right? I mean, we already saw it up, then down, and now it looks like potentially we're coming back up out of here, right? We could see what we saw here in, we got to zoom in maybe 2017 time. That's what a lot of people have been equating this cycle to. So I think, maybe we're starting to see some light. We're starting to see the news of people buying Bitcoin in Q1 that we haven't really seen for quite some time. And so I think this and the combination of the crypto czar himself now meeting with the UAE and that potential of that investment now coming online is going to be absolutely massive. So as my friend All-Nighter Hider always says, smoke the like Cheech and Chong, smash the subscribe button, hit the bell so you guys know when I'm going live and you can get yourself some free sats. And I will catch you guys all at the next one.